guys, with Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. Congressman, thank you for waiting through this. The president seems to be saying, look, we're off to the races here. Republicans, we've got our act together. We started out a little slow. Now we're on fire. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely do, Neil. This sounded like the head coach of the team giving the rest of the squad a great halftime speech right here in the middle.
By the way, why aren't you with the rest of the team? What are you doing?
Well, Neil, I had to stay here and keep the Memo company. I actually just got out of the skiff and was reviewing the version of the memo that was sent to the White House with just like a couple very small grammatical changes, ensuring that we've got a presence.
Was it only just grammatical changes, Congressman? I mean, there's been a concern back and forth that more sinister things were done.
No, absolutely not. I've gone in and seen the changes. It took me about 20 seconds to review the changes, Neil. Couple of grammatical changes, a syntax change of almost no significance, and then one minor issue the FBI requested that has absolutely nothing to do with the findings of the memo. It was merely a descriptor of a person, and so absolutely nothing.
Well, you probably heard, the reason why I mentioned it, sir, is that obviously other Republicans, you forget the FBI concerned about this, but Senator John Thune among those saying that be careful here, be delicate about this. He's concerned that Senate Intelligence Committee members haven't had a chance to look at this. So can you update us on that? Who's seen it? Who's had a chance to share it? Whatever.
Well, about 200 Republicans in the House have gone down and see it. Democrats actually boycotted going and seeing the memo. The White House has seen it. And I can tell you, Neil, having reviewed it thoroughly multiple times, there's absolutely nothing in this memo that jeopardizes national security. It does not contain the sources or methods of intelligence collection, and it does contain important information that the American people need to know. And frankly, I'm hopeful that it'll spark a bipartisan debate about the type of intelligence and surveillance gathering that we want to have in this country, and the types of protocols and procedures, and particularly in the verification of information needs to be robust to give us confidence in these critical systems for our democracy.
You've heard obviously from some Democrats who are chafing at you're not releasing their memo post this memo, which I guess raises some concerns about this memo, and in so doing, your fairness. What do you say?
I would say we should release their memo as well. Okay. They used a footnoting system that, one, was inaccurate and a bit misleading, and second, some of the footnoted materials in the Democrat memo may actually reveal some sources and methods that would need to be redacted. But I have no objection to any member of the Intelligence Committee making their argument based on the information that they've seen, because this is a matter of such importance that it's going to require an adult, responsible debate in this country about the verification that is essential before we spy on American citizens, particularly when there is a political infection or a political bias that seems to be at the base of all of it. And so I would welcome the release of their memo. I do think it's a little ridiculous that Mr. Schiff and Ms. Pelosi and others are using every tactic in the book to try to block the release of this information to the American people. If they've got an argument to make, let's go make it. But please, let's not be obstructionist and let's not fight against transparency.
So what do you think of the FBI being against it?
Well, I think that there are a lot of reasons why the FBI would be against this as a consequence of the contents that I cannot discuss. I mean, look, the FBI does not come out smelling like a rose here, and there are things that need to change at the FBI. There are people that are changing at the FBI as a result already, and I think there's more of that to come, Neil.
You know, I'd be remiss, sir, if I didn't mention your guest at the State of the Union address, this Chuck Johnson, apparently a big alt-right figure. Did you know that at the time?
I did not. I had met Chuck just briefly before allowing him to snag a ticket that was at our office. But, you know, some of the claims against Mr. Johnson are not accurate. He's not a Holocaust denier. He's not a white supremacist. Those are unfortunate characterizations of him. But I did not know he was as perhaps infamous and controversial as he was when he came by and got a free ticket.
The reason why I mentioned the Capitol Hill police apparently had alerted you right beforehand to say that you know, you should know this, and you still invited him.
No, the Capitol Police asked if they could speak with him regarding an unrelated matter where they thought he could be of some assistance.
I see.
There was not a circumstance.
But did anyone alert you right before?
Any problem?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they did.
They did alert you, and you still invited him.
Sure, and he was a polite and just entirely appropriate guest, I thought.
All right, so whether, you know, alt-right or not, it didn't matter to you.
No, he is not guilty of the things that some people have charged him of as it relates to those claims. Look, he's a controversial figure. There are plenty of controversial folks at the State of the Union. I don't just cavort with people who hold my views. I think there are people on the right and on the left that you spend time with, learn more about, understand their viewpoint.
Would you do it again?
I don't know that I would invite him to the State of the Union again. I'd probably save that ticket for my dad, who got sick and couldn't pick up the ticket in the first place.
All right. Thank you, Congressman, very, very much. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Neil.